What is going on, everyone? Live on all fields. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Better than mine. Little updates for the YouTube, and I'll go ahead and say this. I'll try to remember to say this for the Facebook people. If you are watching this on Facebook, you will not have the visuals that we'll be going over in the live stream, so make sure you guys check out the YouTubes for that. Anyways, yeah, a little update for you guys. We are a little bit injured, so there's not going to be a video or a vlog tomorrow like there usually is. We're going to try and have one out by Saturday or Sunday. We'll see what happens. We'll see how I'm feeling. I think I'll be good to go for like a light pull day, but just to kind of give you guys a little bit of information. If you haven't been keeping up with like my social media stories, I have strained my hamstring. So what I was doing is last night I was doing some sprints as part of my conditioning, and it just did not go very well. And it's my fault. It's 100% my fault. The big thing that ended up happening was I did not foam roll. I did not warm up properly, and I knew I didn't. I just wanted to get it done because it was late at night, and I needed to get it done. And I did not do the things I was supposed to be doing, and Lord and behold, got myself hurt. So we have, fortunately, it's a grade 1 from what I can tell. It's not super serious. We don't have any bruising. It's not like a rupture or a tear or anything like that. But boy, it scared the crap out of me when it happened. Oh my God, it scared me when it happened. Yeah, I heard and felt a really loud pop. And then, dude, like, I lost control of my like leg. I couldn't even move. So that was something we are dealing with and something we're going along with. But Heaven's favorites, what's up? These past live streams you haven't been watching, we're mainly focusing on going over the chapters of my book, and this is actually the second chapter. Everything is a wave, and we're going to be talking about that as we go deeper and deeper. But I wanted to let you guys know, just to kind of give you guys a heads up, if you keep up with the vlogs and stuff like that, there is going to be a missing one this week. So prepare for that. I really tried to make it to the gym this morning because I was like, well, dude, it's technically supposed to be leg day, but I was like, I can still get in there and like I can do like sitting down calf raises, or I can do something. And dude, I literally walked outside my door, misplaced a step, and about freaking sent it over. So I was like, nope. Like, I couldn't even really go on a walk. So it's something I'm having to really pay attention to. If I'm not careful, that can go from a grade 1 to a grade 2 really quick, and it's not worth it. We're talking about the difference between a week and a half to 2 weeks of recovery time to 4 weeks of recovery time. It's just not worth it. So that being said, we got people popping in, so let's go ahead and start going over this. So if you guys remember, we've been talking a lot about my Chigel equation. Adaptation, we'll go ahead and go over it right here. Adaptation, don't. I can't highlight stuff. That makes me so mad. Unless I can do this. No, let's just do this. Yeah. This is the Chigel equation. Adaptation equals resonance time constraints divided by energy, right? We've been talking about that a lot. That is the whole basis of my book. That is what the Chigel equation is. And again, if you guys want information on the basis of that, go check out some of the past live streams we've been doing this past week. But that being said, as we're going deeper and deeper, we're going to get more in depth with this stuff. And I want to make sure you guys know what that is. So what we're about to do is we're going to start delving into the different components of the Chigel equation, which are going to be, we've gone over what they are, but I really want to go in depth so you guys can really understand this stuff. But we've got, obviously, adaptation. We did a live stream on that last week, so you guys can go actually watch that one already. But then we're going to be doing one on resonance, constraint, and energy. But before I can even get to that, I've got to explain that everything is a wave, or else a lot of this it's going to go over your head, And again, this is why we wrote a book about this stuff, guys. So again, if some of this is, you still want more information about this stuff, again, check out the book. It's on Amazon. You guys can see that right now. And I did just post a short about it. Heaven's favorite says, I've been doing a lot of work lately, and I've had to sleep earlier. Oh, I got you. Is that why you haven't been popping into live streams? No worries. We haven't been doing as much gaming live streams recently. Not that we won't, I might do periodically here and there, but I really want to cover a lot of this book because I want to make sure we get out the main components for you guys. Because again, this is stuff that I think is really going to help change some people's lives if you can learn how to ride the freaking wave. Again, this is why we got to teach you guys why everything is a wave. And then we got to teach you guys how to ride the wave, how to listen to the wave, how to read the wave, right? So first things first, you got to understand that everything is a wave. And I mean freaking everything is a wave. Everything we put it down to. I put a few examples right here. There's a lot more below. But just for an example, music is a vibration that syncs with your heartbeat and emotions, right? We sync to these waves. Heat is a wave, right? We got infrared heat. Light is a wave. It's a wavelength. You got literal waves. Even when we're talking about like, psychological, anxiety is a ripple in your nervous system triggered by a signal. Pain, a chemical wave in your brain interpreted after a signal travels through your nerves, through your words. It travels through a medium. Even memory recall is the same way. And what you guys got to understand of what a wave is energy going through a medium. The most exact interpretation you guys are going to be able to understand about this is just think about literally like water waves, but you got to understand that everything behaves this way. Everything you see behaves this way. Even when we look down in quantum mechanics, I know this is the part where we start going deep, guys. I told you this. I warned you we were going deep, okay? Even when you look down at quantum mechanics, things really start behaving like wavelengths, right? We have stuff like probability waves. And so this is where stuff gets really weird, but what you guys have got to understand is that everything you experience in this world is a wave. The light you see, everything you're looking at right now is a wave. It's not the actual objects you're seeing. You're seeing light bounce off the object, and that wave from that light is coming to your eyes, and your eyes are able to interpret that wavelength as that color, as that shape, as whatever it is. That's how it works. And your rods and cones kind of separate between depth perception and color. Contrast and depth perception, rather. But everything's like that. Even when we're talking about, touch, again, when we're talking about physical stuff, stuff going through you like a wave, it's, again, this is a best way to imagine it is literally like a wave, like an actual wave. But this happens with, it doesn't have to be a liquid, guys, for it to behave like a wave at all. In fact, when you look at an earthquake and you look at, fault shifts, that's what's happening. It's just happening on a way slower time scale because it's a lot thicker and denser. It's a solid, right? But it's still energy moving through a medium. That's still what's going on. That's still what an earthquake is, right? And so what you got to understand is where this ties into the Chigel equation, again, A equals resonance time constraints divided by E, is that the whole point of the Chigel equation is how to figure out what the response to a wave is, how something responds, or in other words, how something adapts, right? As you'll learn, this whole book is about adaptation. But that being said, what does this have to do with you, right? What this has to do with you is that your body is a wave receiver, right? Like I said, everything you experience in life is a wave, and your body is interpreting these waves. Your body is a receiver for all of these waves that life is throwing at you. Again, when it comes, and this is broken down into your 5 senses, right? Well, obviously we have the touch is pretty simple. You could literally stick your hand into water and you can feel the waves, okay? Like that one's pretty easy. But it's the same thing with with everything you're looking at right now. Everything you're literally looking at is a light wavelength, right? If light isn't touching this, and light does have to be involved, guys, because what happens when we don't have light? I'll show you what happens when we don't have light. This is what happens. I'll do it for Facebook here in a minute, right? This is what happens when we don't have light. You can still kind of see light peeking through. It's not fair, but you can't see anything because light has to bounce off something for you to, I moved the camera, might be. But because light has to bounce off something for you to be able to see that kind of stuff. And again, the light has to bounce off something and then it has to travel back to your eyes. That wavelength has to, right? And this is why certain things have certain colors, because whenever, for example, if something is green, right, the grass, for example, when the light hits the grass, when the wavelength from the light hits the grass from photons, that's the wavelength, by the way, when it hits the grass, it absorbs, or it reflects, it absorbs all other light except green light. Green light bounces off of that. If you guys remember Roy G. Biv back in the day, right? That's the color spectrum. But that green light bounces off of that grass and it bounces back to your eyeballs, and that's why grass looks green. It's a wavelength. That's what's going on. I know it's super complicated, but that's exactly what's going on, right? When you think about audio, guys, literally go look at any SoundCloud. Like, go look at any sound, or I say SoundCloud because SoundCloud would literally show you the wave file, but that's what they're called, wave files. Like, literally, it's in the name. It's a wave. Audio is a wave. It's a frequency. Everything I say, yeah, it's a frequency. All waves all have frequency, right? And so this is what you got to understand. Like, everything you see and experience, not just see, everything you experience in life is a waveform, and your body is responding to that wave. And the Chigel equation helps you understand how that wave is responding, how you're responding to that wave, because you're also an input to this. See what I mean? And this isn't in just biology. It shows up everywhere. Like I said, earthquakes are a seismic wave moving through solid rock. Wi-Fi is just a radio frequency, and radio frequencies are waves. Speaking of Wi-Fi, you guys ever heard of microwaves? You have a microwave oven in your kitchen probably right now. That's part of that too. Your microwave oven produces microwaves, and the way microwaves work is they send energy through a medium, that medium being air, or your entire microwave. It sends energy through a medium, and microwave specifically reacts with water. That's why if you put like a paper towel, like a dry paper towel in a microwave, put it in there for like a minute, 2 minutes, it's not going to do anything because it specifically reacts with water. It makes water molecules vibrate from the energy through the medium, and that's what heats up your food. By the way, that's how microwaves work, if you didn't know. Little information for you. But solar flares, electromagnetic wave bursts from the sun and disrupt electronics. DNA folds and unfolds rhythmically during expression. It's like a spiral wave uncoding adaptive instructions, right? Again, it's responding. It's responding to these waves. Gravity, it's not a force, it's a ripple in space-time. A gravitational, what? Wave. I kind of crossed it out. Let me undo that. Wave. You guys want to see what I'm saying here? Everything's a wave. It's just you don't see it like that because you're seeing with your naked eye. But seeing literally isn't believing in this sense. Literally. So I hope this helps you guys understand that everything you're experiencing right now is a wave. And the whole reason we got to understand this is because the Chigel equation is helping you understand how something responds to a wave, how you respond to a wave, how a rock responds to a wave, right? Again, I love to bring this up because we only think about like living beings. This doesn't just apply to living beings. This applies to everything. That's why we call it in my book a universal law. It's universal. It applies to everything. It applies to everything that's here in the universe that's still adapting. Everything that adapts, right? And everything adapts unless it's not being, messed with, right? And again, I always like to apply a rock because people think, oh, nothing's happening to a rock. We don't engage with a rock. Yes, it does. Guys, this is what erosion is. And again, this is why we brought up the 3 E's of adaptation in the last live stream. Yes, it does. It just because you're not looking at that rock doesn't mean it's not, responding to a wave. That wave is the sun hitting that rock and baking it, right? That wave is the wind cutting through that rock and carving it out. Same thing with any kind of rainfall that falls on that rock. And that's why when you look at all these different mountains and terrain and you see all these different rocks that are out there shaped in really crazy ways, it's because erosion did that. And again, that's a whole part of what the Chigel equation helps you kind of find is when this kind of stuff happens. So hopefully you guys get this part and understand this part. A little tidbit of information we really need to make sure we go down before I start delving deeper and deeper and deeper into like energy. Specifically, we're probably going to be talking about energy next because a lot of you guys are noticing that like when I brought up the Chigel equation, when I said E cannot, or E, if any of these equals 0, the whole equation equals zeros, you guys are finding something very, very quickly is that E actually cannot equal 0 because you can't divide by 0. I mean, that's just in the equation right here. And you're right, and you guys are catching something very early on that I thought I was going to cover in a later discussion, but you guys are pretty quick and on your toes. So I love that. But because I saw a few of y'all's comments on that, and that you're right. That's something we are going to be talking about on the next live stream. So you guys pop in on that. We'll be live here again on Friday. I'll keep you guys up to date with how the hamstring's going. Again, as long as I do the right things, we should be good to go by next week, maybe the week after that. Just keep it slow, keep grinding away, keep staying on my nutrition and stuff like that. But I'll see you guys very soon.